because she's going to be doing the chat. And as you can see, we are all fanboys, fangirls of Sylvia. So you see our backgrounds. Yes, we love us.
I love it. It's awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
You guys are so much better at Zoom than I am. I'm just like, what am I hitting? What am I doing? Where am I going? So I'll need to figure it out at some point.
Oh, you look beautiful. Oh my God.
Oh, thank you.
Now I'm like Stephanie. Stephanie hyperventilated on the screen earlier when Steve Barnes were here. So I'm like,
I feel that way when I go to conferences and I see my favorite writers. I'm just like tongue-tied. I don't know what to do.
I do have to say, I've seen Sylvia in person a lot of times, and I've never seen her looking anything but gorgeous. So
thank you.
Let me do a quick little intro, just in case there's anybody here who has not heard of you. I don't know how that would happen, but Sylvia Day is the #1 New York Times, #1 USA Today, and #1 international best-selling author. She has had a wonderful journey in publishing. She's got tens of millions of copies of her books in print. And her novels have taken spots among the top best-selling books at the year-end sales roundups, making her one of the most widely read authors in the world today. She was the 22nd president of Romance Writers of America and is currently on the board of directors for both Author Guild and the Authors Guild Foundation. So I would like to welcome my friend Sylvia Day, one of my favorite people to work with, along with Naleighna Kai. So I'm glad to bring my worlds together. And I wanted to go ahead and do some questions, if that's okay. And I think that the first thing people would like to hear is, how did you spend decades becoming an overnight sensation, Sylvia? How did that happen?
Well, I wrote my first novel in 2003, and I sold my first book in December of 2004. I had been sending out query letters that entire time. So, as the, when it rains, it pours sort of thing. I got the notice that I had sold my first book. And then over the next 2 weeks, I heard from 2 different other publishers that they were also acquiring the work that I had sent to them. So it was like, yay, this is it, right? I'm gonna take off now. Everything's gonna fall into place. It was 8 years before I wrote Bared to You and published it. And that became the book that really put my name on the map. Now that whole time, I was writing and publishing, working with so many different publishers. I was working with Kensington, I was working with HarperCollins, I was working with Penguin. So, I was consistently putting out about 4 full-length novels and 2 novellas a year during that whole time. And, nothing was ever a huge hit, but it was certainly supporting me and my family. But that overnight sensation thing, it was 8 years. And really what it did was I self-published, and by self-publishing, my work really took off.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Somebody with big eyes turns to self-publishing and then really just dominates that market. It was NetGalley that did that, as I remember. A Penguin editor picked it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the way that worked was at the time, you were able to put books on NetGalley for people to look at, right? And I thought, why not? I need, somebody to read this book. I didn't submit it to any of my existing publishers, which, after the book came out was so successful, my publishers asked me, why didn't you submit this to me? And my answer to that was, well, I've already published all of these other books with you and you couldn't get it done. Now, that's not to say I don't continue to work with those publishers, because I do. Once you become very successful, of course, it's easy for a publisher to continue to perpetuate that success, to kind of build on the readership that you've built yourself. But prior to that, it was like I was writing what I thought were really good books, and I'm still extremely proud of those works, and they just were not getting seen, and I don't know why. So I put it on NetGalley about a month before I released it, and the reviewers were extremely enthusiastic about that novel, and they were posting a lot of reviews for it that were, really great, which of course impacted the algorithm at Goodreads. So it started being recommended to a lot of different people. And by chance, it happened to be recommended to one of my editors, who was like, oh, wait a minute, Sylvia's got a new book out and I've never heard of it. And there's so many great reviews for it. And then she reached out to me and she's like, well, I want to buy this book, but it's not for sale yet. Would you mind sending me the manuscript? And I'm like, sure. So I sent her a PDF of the finished book on a Friday evening. And because what she was doing was looking for a book to read over the weekend. She's like, I don't want to read, something for work. I want to read something for pleasure. So I'm going to go to Goodreads and see what everybody's talking about. And then that turned out to be my book. And so she said, would you mind sending it to me so I could read it over the weekend? And then by Monday morning, she was calling and asking if she could acquire it. And it released as a self-published novel on Tuesday.
That's amazing. And after you really hit success and you were working on this trilogy, I remember you giving the keynote speech at RWA, and you were talking about giving back, and it kind of ties nicely into Joy Lynn Ross, who was right before you, who's quoted, your success depends on the people you helped win. Which I love because you've always been active in the community. And I think romance authors have a special way of amplifying each other. So why do you think it is that romance authors all help each other so much?
Well, we're kind of underdogs, aren't we? Writing romance, you don't get a lot of respect. You don't get a lot of marketing dollars. That's my German Shepherd. You're really out there, on your own. And you really need the support of other writers who, of course, as romance writers, you love reading romance. So you're also reading romance novels that everybody else is writing. And then when you read a book that you love, you want other people to find it and discover it and to fall in love with it too. And to fall in love with that author and, to continue with them. We try to support each other and lift each other up, because if we don't do that, who will?
Yeah. And I think that's a story, really behind Tribe. The group that you're seeing on the screen are all members of a writing group that help each other and help magnify each other. And of course, there are a lot of people who are attending who are readers and fans and other writers, and want to hear kind of just about the importance of and the passion for writing. So what's the best piece of advice someone ever gave you about writing?
So shortly after I was published, things were going fairly well. My publishers were re-upping me for more books, and, I acquired new publishers and were writing books for them. And it just reached the point where I was on deadlines where books were due every 15 days. And I was working so hard to, meet these deadlines that I wasn't reading. I told myself I didn't have time to read. If I picked up a book and took a minute for myself, that was a minute that I wasn't, trying to keep up with my deadlines. After about a year and a half, I couldn't write at all. I was sitting there trying, and nothing was coming. I stared at the same blank page for months on end. And it got to the point where there was no way I was going to meet that deadline or the deadlines, but it was like this domino effect, right? And I realized I was so unhappy writing. I used to love it, but I was so unhappy. And, I called my editor, I sent her an email and I said, listen, I really need to talk to you about something. And we got on the phone and I told her, I said, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I'm finished. And I don't know how I'm going to get out of my contracts, but, I'm going to talk to my agent. I'm going to ask them how, we can go about it. But I've been staring at this blank page for 4 months. And when I sit down to write, I feel like it's such a chore and I don't want to do it, that I'm pretty sure that I've written every book that I had to write in me. And my very perceptive editor said, when's the last time you read a book? And I'm like, I don't know, a year and a half ago. Who has time to read? I have to meet all these deadlines. She goes, if you're not reading, you're not writing, period. You can go for, you can wing it for a little bit, but you're going to reach a point where it's going to just dry up and you're not going to be able to write anymore. And that's where you're at. She goes, so we're going to get off the phone. Don't worry about this deadline. We'll move the book. We'll do whatever we have to do. And you need to just sit down and read. and I'm gonna reach out to you in 2 weeks. I'm gonna see where you're at. So then I'm like, okay, what am I doing? I tried buying some new books, looking at new books, but then you fall out of practice. So sometimes when I hear people say, well, I'm in a reading slump, it's like, well, you're trying to pick it up after a little bit, because, it is like riding a bike, but you're a little rusty, you have to get back into it. So I'm like, this is not working. Nothing I'm picking up is really doing anything for me. And then I decided, well, I should go back and read the books that I loved, the ones that are on my keeper shelf, the ones I know. And so I tried doing that, and I still had trouble because I was like skimming, moving forward, skimming. That's when I realized that digital books were my best friend, because I couldn't skip to the scene I remember, this, this, that, and the other thing, and move ahead. That's why I was getting to the end of the book and going, oh, I was okay. Well, because I didn't read it all. I didn't read every word, I didn't read every scene. I wasn't absorbing everything. So then I was like, okay, get it on ebook. You already own it, but get it on ebook and read it. So then it was like, I have to read every word. I have to go through every page. And then I'm falling in love with the books again. And now I'm staying up till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm getting up and I'm, hurrying back to read that book. And then it's like the next one, the next one, the next one. Now I'm going to the new books that I bought. By the time she reached out to me 2 weeks later, I was already halfway done with the book. It had only taken me a week of reading to kind of recharge that battery to get back to work. So the number one thing I can tell you as a writer is you have to keep reading. That you should never be too busy to read. If you are, you're gonna run into the same problem I did.
Yeah, that's important. Like, it's just keeping gasoline in the engine, so that you can keep moving forward. I think, being a reader is critical for all of us. I don't write, but it's critical for me to love what I do every day. That's a piece that I enjoy. And Sylvia, what is one thing that you do when you're about to start a book? What are your habits around it?
So for me, when I decide that I'm going to start writing a book, it's because a particular scene came to me very vividly. Sometimes it's the very end of the book. Sometimes it's the last scene in the book. And then I have to try to go backwards. Who are these people? Who are these characters? How did they get to this point? Sometimes it's the middle, sometimes it's the beginning. I need to jot that down. I need to have that scene. That's my inspiration scene. That's the start. And then from there, different scenes will pick up as I go along. They're always out of order. So I have to start keeping a chart. And I actually have one right here because I'm sitting where I usually work. But it looks a little like that.
Oh,
yeah. So it's like,
go a little closer.
Chapters. This is a book that's already published, so you're not going to get anything new here. But there's chapters here. There's page numbers, where I'm trying to hit points, high points, low points, breakdowns. And then, it juxtaposes over here too to switch things right. This should move here. This should move there. So I wouldn't call it storyboarding because I don't know where I'm going until I get there, but at least gives me something to look back to when I'm like, I've reached kind of a lull. Where am I going with this? Oh yeah, I'm trying to get to this scene. And then, so it's like little goals,
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm not trying to get from the beginning to the end. I'm just trying to get to this scene, and how do I build up to that? Then once I get to that scene, what's the next major turning point scene, and then, build toward that. And those little goals keep me going until all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm at the end. Yay. It's a little bit of a surprise.
That's great. And we've had a question about people have wanted to read you but didn't know where to start. What book do you recommend, and what book of yours that people haven't really discovered do you really love?
Well, it depends on what you like, right? Because I've written futuristics, I've written historicals, I've written contemporaries, I've written paranormals, I've written urban fantasy. So if there's a subgenre you like, I've got something for you. It's just, I need to know what it is that that you're interested in. If you go to my website, on my bookshelf, you have the opportunity of looking at books that are collected into series. And you can toggle it and look at books that are collected into genres. So that way you're like, well, I really prefer paranormals. then you can go there. And then once you get to that page, it'll break it down into this is the first book in this series, that sort of thing. That's really the way to go. So that way, I want to make sure that I get the book in your hands that you're going to enjoy most. So, I don't want to recommend a contemporary if you really prefer historicals or paranormals, that sort of thing. A book that I think probably would be In the Flesh. It's a futuristic. There's not very many of those. I wrote that many, many years ago. It was published many, many years ago. And it just, it was packaged. I wish I had a picture of the original cover. On my website, you can see the original cover. But it was like this bare-chested guy with like this laser sword thing and very futuristic looking cover. So I think for a lot of people, they were like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm going to get into it. They ended up changing it to actually look more like my historical covers. But it never really had the opportunity to shine. Those who've read it, have really enjoyed it and like, when are you going to write another one? But they're few. Those readers are very few.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about those futuristic sci-fi leaning books. They're always my favorite, and they're always the least read of authors.
I know that it's just one of those things.
Well, everybody who's linking is saying that every single book and series is phenomenal. You can't miss, no matter what you start with. So, yeah, you've got some fans in the audience. And do you have any routines that you do that are important to you? Things that you always do just to keep yourself in that groove, along with reading?
Well, I set up my workstation, right, which is typically, I start at my desk, but then, I get very uncomfortable after a couple hours. My couch is my big spot. I have a couch in my office. I'm sitting on it right now. And then, I get my drink ready. I get some snacks ready. I get a little ottoman together to put my feet up. I get all of my notepads, pencils, different colored highlighters, all that sort of stuff. So I can keep track of the tonal beats of my stories, make sure that I'm on track. So I don't want to have to get up and get something, that kind of interrupts the flow. Because it takes about 2 hours for me to really get into that point where my head is in the game, I'm in the zone, the words are going, I'm ready to go. So I don't want to just start to get into that phase and then go, oh, I need to go up and get this or do that. So, I get everything ready for me. And I pre-warn everybody, friends, family members. I'm not going to be answering my texts. I'm probably not going to be reading my emails. Kids are going to have to fend for themselves. Luckily, they know how to cook now, and they'll come in and go, made dinner, you want something? Yay for kids who want to cook, right? So that's all part of the process of getting ready to sit down and write. But also it's like, I go through a week or two of really binge reading, outside of the genre that I'm planning on writing in. So if I'm going to be writing a romance, I'm going to be reading, a suspense, a thriller, a horror, something else. And a lot of times it's not even a romance. It's just to kind of get, thoughts moving. It's like your subconscious starts to work when you let it alone. So you got to, occupy your consciousness with something so that your subconscious can, get it all together, get ready to go. And then I sit down and I write like a mad woman until I'm done.
Excellent. Yeah. And there's a pressing question here. What is your writing, drink, and snack that you have ready?
It's the XX Flaming Hot Cheetos, the one in the black label bag.
He lives dangerously.
I love those. I don't know if it's just it keeps you hyper aware, because your mouth is on fire. They're so good though. The problem is I have to hide them from my kids. Literally, I will have to put them in a drawer somewhere, or else my kids will grab them and eat them.
I was not expecting that.
I know you look like you eat something healthy still.
Truly, when I'm not writing, but I feel like when I'm writing, I deserve it.
Yeah, 100%. And what do you drink?
Good to know.
Perrier. I drink a lot of Perrier in my house.
That's awesome. All right. I don't know. I think we ran long. Naleighna,
okay.
Do we have more time? Or
That's
do you?
Take more time, you can, because I'm up next with my niece, and we were just going to do a brief chat because she's the baby of the family. So take a little bit more time. If I just want to respect Sylvia's time and keep our word, because we said we were only going to do it because for a certain amount of time to respect her time. But if she wants to answer a few more questions, hey, we're not gonna kick her out of the house. We love Sylvia.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Who was that little
you.
guy? Did I see you pick someone up?
So cute.
This is our pandemic puppy.
Oh, I
Oh,
love
what a
that.
sweetheart. She is very cute. I was like, that is not the German Shepherd. That's what I know.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
Oh, well, I thank you so much, Sil, for joining. Did anybody else have any questions that needed to be asked? Because
I have a quick
otherwise,
question. I have a quick question, Sylvia. What is one question that you've never been asked, but you wish you were asked during an interview?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't really know. I feel like I've been asked a lot of things. Even what, pretty pressing, I had a question once at a convention. We had a packed room too, where we were talking about our experiences with publishing or whatever. And somebody asked me a very incisive question about my publisher. And I was very honest about it, to the point where, my agent was texting me afterwards. She goes, "What did you say in that panel? My phone is blowing up. The publishers say you've jumped house. You're leaving your publisher. You're ready to go. They want to see, what you want." I mean, I'll answer anything. I'll be as honest as I can about it, because I feel like we have to share that sort of information. But I've been asked everything. I mean, sometimes people even ask me about, you had this sex scene on page 78 in this book. Have you ever done that? And it's like, okay, now I'm not going to ask you about your sex life. Please don't. Those are questions that I won't answer. But I feel like I've been asked pretty much everything. Where I'm like, yeah, no, where do you buy your lingerie? I think because when you write erotic novels, people want to know or feel like it's okay to ask you very personal questions, about your sex life and that sort of thing. Yeah. No.
Believe me, I'm right there with you. I swear the emails, oh, good grief.
Right? And you're just like, yeah, no, it's, yeah, no.
Well,
Yeah,
both of you have written BDSM. So, when you go there, people think that they have an opening, I think.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, and I think that speaks to having a very personal connection through the work. They connected very strongly with your words and your story, and that's really lovely. But of course, while you can experience so much of my characters' lives, my personal life is really still personal.
Yeah, that part.
Good to know. JL Campbell wanted to jump in with a question real quick before we let you wrap up. JL. Well,
oh, I can't hear anything. Okay. I was on mute.
No, she's not on mute. It's on her end. She's in Jamaica. Okay. So type the question and Kelly will pop it in. But Sylvia, I loved meeting you at RT Book Lovers Convention way back when, and we took a selfie. And we both said, oh God, we hate selfies because we never know where to look.
Oh, right? Oh my God, I'm the worst at. I actually need to just put a collection of all these. Usually I get like the top, like my eyes, the bottom half of my face is missing. I'm really good at doing that. There's so many, and my son, is 6'3". So he's a foot taller than me. When I try to do a selfie, there's no way I'm getting the bottom half of my face. So I have all these pictures of me and him where he's just like, and it's the top of my face. But yeah, I'm not good at it. I admire people who can do it well. Are you going to go to Orlando? Maybe.
And what's happening in Orlando?
The Book Lovers Con.
That's next year. It's at the same time as the Black Women's Expo. It's about 30,000.
Oh no.
And all of the tribe, they keep changing it. And they also still keep changing it to the same date that the Black Women's Expo is scheduled. And we had to weigh it out because most of the tribe is signed up to go to that event. It's 30,000.
Right.
And we are hosting the literary cafe there. So Shakir, all of the tribe, Joy is coming in from Jamaica, Lisa, Anita, all of the tribe will be there. So we have to make that decision to stay home in Chicago for that event. 30,000 people,
Yeah.
4,000. Love you.
Oh yeah,
And we're
absolutely.
the premier authors that they've brought in for the event. So we can't get that
Absolutely.
kind of extra anywhere. So yeah, but I will see you again because
Okay.
it's just, I am so happy that you came on to do this. And, you know, we asked at the last minute when I tell Kelly, I was like, okay, it would be wonderful to have someone like Sylvia Day. She said, Sylvia Day? There's an app for that. And she made a phone call and make it happen. So we are so
Oh,
grateful.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, we have some more events this year, one in November and one in December. I'll send Kelly the information to put an invite out there. So if you have some time, I'm not putting you on the spot, but if you have some downtime, next time we get a little reading going from some of your work or whatever. But we'd love
Oh,
to hear from you
awesome.
again. Yes,
Thank you.
indeed. And we saw you retweeting and resharing, and everybody in the tribe was like, oh my God, Sylvia Day just retweeted.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We were like little kids. I hadn't even seen it because I have a virtual personal assistant, but all of the entire tribe was buzzing with each other. And it was like, oh, let me go. It was so exciting. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Indeed.
And for the tribe, so since you read E so much, I'm going to send you the Apple codes for the Kings of the Castle series. So you get a chance to take a look at those and see if, you know, I think you're going to love them. There's romantic suspense. It's a really amazing book.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome. I'm excited.
All right.
And you can feel
All right. Well, it's so good
to
having
listen
you.
to anybody else or whatever and want to hang around for a few minutes. I can put you in the backyard. The next thing is me and the baby of the family. It's my niece. Who is going to come in and talk about how I twisted her arm and just told her she was writing a book. And she,
oh, that's awesome.
She's never written before. And she typed about 10,000 words on her iPhone and emailed it. I had to buy her a computer because she started killing.
Wow.
Yes. And she had a story to tell. She is so amazing. Let me show you really quickly, share this screen with you so you can see the book as well as what we've got going up on here. I had one for you as well. Hold up, Chief. Why is it not letting me? Wow, something's going on where it won't even let me open up pictures. Okay, let's go open. There we go. See, I want to act up because we got guests in the house. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's always the way.
Yes,
just like a pet or a baby.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one of the series. That's book 4 in the Kings of the Castle series. And then there's also this one. All of the tribe, we write series together in order to market and promote each other. So we've got the Kings of the Castle, which Inscribe was very influential in making sure we got wide distribution. And here's one of the one from me. This one. There we go.
Beautiful covers.
Yeah, my son did.
Those covers are gorgeous.
Thank you. J.L. Woodson. He is our cover designer, the premier cover designer. And for the whole series, Kings of the Castle, for the tribe members, for the Knights of the Castle series. So we basically, this is what we're doing. And Inscribe has been very influential in making sure we're distributed widely and in KU at the same time. That doesn't happen for everyone. We can have our books in KU and have it wide at the same time. So and once again, we thank you so much. I'm like, okay, I can fangirl now. I can do that, right?
Yeah, you can do that now. Sylvia, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
So good to see your face. It's been too long.
It has been too long. Hopefully it won't be too much longer before I get to see you all.
I know I get fatter every time you see me. It's ridiculous. So.
Oh my God. You're married to a chef.
It's true.
I wish I was.
It's true. It's true. 5 pounds a year until this year. And now it's just going up, up, up. This pandemic just means I sit less and I eat more, I think.
Oh my God. When we had to fly back, we had to give weights and everything. We had all gained anywhere between 5 to 15 pounds. And we're like, what is going on? We have got to we've got to get it together. But the gyms were closed for so long. You know, even now it's like you have to go in and wear a mask. So, you know, you're like, ugh. But yeah, and then, you know, it's a little depressing, you know, to be home and away from everybody. And, you know, I miss that human interaction. That's also part of my inspiration, right? Is, you know, going out, being with people. So then you end up feeling a little down, and that ice cream really cheers you up sometimes.
It does. It does.
Cheetos certainly do.
Ben and Jerry's are my best friends.
I'm a Haagen-Dazs woman. Haagen-Dazs is the pure stuff. I'm just saying.
Haagen-Dazs.
And that's the baby girl that just showed up. That's J.S. Cole. That's my niece. So she just
Hello.
Yes.
she's going to introduce me for my little 3 minutes and talk about that. So you feel free to stay for the next 5 minutes, or you can I can put you in the audience and you can watch everything from there. Sylvia,
Put me in the audience.
Awesome.
you want
Okay.
to stay, or you want to go into?
Yep. I'll go. Thank you.
Okay, she said audience, or she said stay. I missed it.
You want to be audience? Let's do audience.
Okay, so now she is nervous, and there's a lot going on in the background, I will tell you, because the pandemic has hit in her house. Her husband is a truck driver, and he brought it home. So everybody's quarantined, and she was freaking out a little bit because she didn't want to miss this. And she was like, Auntie, don't come over here. You know, the children, it's really interesting because the children can't understand why they aren't able to see their father. The father's quarantined in the basement, and they can't see him, and they're young, and they don't understand this whole, well, it's a pandemic, you can't be around him.
And then pause.
Yeah, so she's not understanding in any of that. So in that, I'm going to turn it over to the baby author of the family.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is J.S. Cole. I am author of Lady of Jeffrey Manor. And I am a little overwhelmed and intimidating because all of you guys have been writing for 10, 20 plus years, and you got all these books, and I just have this one little book here.
You'll be fine, girl.
Yes.
You'll be just fine.
All started somewhere. One book.
Yeah, right. I am happy to introduce you to my aunt, Naleighna Kai, author of Naleighna Kai. She is USA Today in Essence. I'm sorry, hold on.
You should know that part by heart, girlfriend.
She's best-selling author, yes.
There you go. All right, let's
she is a contributor. She is a contributor to the New York Times bestseller. She's also paved the way for many other authors, including myself, because I didn't even know I was going to be an author. One of my favorite books from her is Open Door Marriage. I love that book. It was full of drama, which I like. I like drama. Love, passion, family secrets. And it was one of my favorite books from her. Her latest book is King of Arabia, which is the first book of the Knights of the Castle series.
Yes.
Good job, baby girl. I'm so proud of you. Look at that. That's my niece, y'all. That's my niece.
And she's here to chat with us today.
Well, actually, I'm going to turn it around on you because this is my event. They're going to hear from me all the time.
Okay.
I want them to. So what had happened was I called you about 3 days after Christmas, right?
It was before Christmas. I had an interview with SE Felida. And she asked me that question, and I told her it was the day before Christmas or the day after Christmas, but it was actually a few days before Christmas that you called me, because I looked in my notes and I found all these texts that I wrote out to you, like the book on the phone. And they were like dates like of the 20th, the 19th, the 21st. So it's actually before Christmas.
I was amazed, you know, because what I said to you is like, you're going to write a book, and you were asleep. She's a surgical scrub tech. So she was on rotation at the hospital. So when I called, I was shocked that she picked up, but she was asleep and you could hear it in her voice. And I said, you're about to write a book. And she said, I am. But here's what she did. And a lot of authors kind of writers that second guess themselves. She just says, what do you need me to do? She didn't give me any pushback. She didn't say, no, I don't want to write no book. Auntie, what you talking about? You crazy? No, what do you need me to do? And I just said, pinpoint 10 painful and powerful points in your life. And I need you to write about it. I was expecting a page or two, maybe 10 pages to start. This girl right here, this woman right here, she typed out on her phone 10,000 words in a 3-day period. And it was like, really? And she was texting it to me. And the thing is, I didn't have any way but copy and paste it into email it to myself, to then copy and paste it into Microsoft Word. I don't even think she realized how phenomenal that is, because almost the majority of it, except for maybe 2,000 words, went into Lady of Jeffrey Manor. She had so much to say and so powerful. And there were some secrets that came out that she hadn't shared with me, some things that had been going on, but she felt comfortable enough to write it. And I was in tears and I had to apologize to her because I wasn't there for her. For some of these things that she wrote about and told me, I wasn't there. And I called her, I say, baby girl, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you, or that you weren't comfortable enough to tell me these things. And she probably was right enough, because I would have killed somebody. And, and I did the same thing on keeping my secrets. I didn't tell somebody because the person I would have told probably would have done some damage to someone because of it. So I get it. But in writing, it opened her up to tell all of these things that she had been through in relationships, how she felt about her father, which is my brother, who hasn't necessarily done right by her. So she could pour out all of that pain. I said pain and power. She gave me all of that. And which is why Lady of Jeffrey Manor, I've been out for 20 years. Her book has outsold every book in the series. And people are resonating with her words because she's a new voice. And even her job, I didn't get the support from my job that she got from her job. She came back to work and there was this big sign. She didn't tell people that the job she was writing. There was this big sign that said, hey, congratulations on your new book, da 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 da. And it was like, wow, and then there was one person from her job that said, you wrote a fucking book? Holy shit. And she sent me that text, and I just thought it was amazing, the acceptance and the sales. I printed her some copies and she sold out of them. But just like I needed writing for healing, I realized I worked with 4 people this year that was family. I gave back to family, including Tribe, which is my family. But to have a voice like hers and realize that this is something that she needed to do to unburden her soul, I was like, this is what, it's more than money, because if you're getting into it for the money, there are people who are mega successful. There are people who are moderately successful. But healing has been the biggest priceless gift that I have taken away from writing all these years. And to be able to share that gift with my niece, and my son is also writing a book in the series, my nephew, all 3 of them have all of this passion of things that they've done or experienced, and they're younger, and it's a different voice, and it's a powerful voice. So I commend you, niece, for not thinking I was crazy, for not saying I can't do this. You never said those words, I can't. It was like, what else do you need me to do? And that attitude was what. So what was it like for you? What was your process?
It was a hard process, because I'm like, who's gonna read a book for me? Like, I don't talk to nobody. And I was like, wow. I just started writing, and during COVID. And I also had to stop working for like 2 months when COVID presented itself. And that's when I got more writing done, or whatever I thought of or could think of, because the script was actually my first script was actually done in like January. Like she called me in December, and the script was done. The first draft was done in January. So I just took it from there. I got frustrated because she kept texting me like, put this in there, think about this, think about that. And I was learning about dialogue and all that stuff. It was hard. It was fun. I didn't think I would like it, but I did.
What did you feel when you got, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
What did you feel when you got that first copy of your book in your hand?
I was like, wow. I was like, wow, I didn't think, that I gave you enough information to even have, that much in my hand. So
it was a lot. Remember, I had to buy you a computer because I was afraid that she was going to mess up her thumbs because she was constantly doing it on the iPhone. And so we got her a desktop, a Mac, of course. Thank you very much. And there to be able to write the book and finish it on there. And she worked with other members of the tribe, like Stephanie and Unique Haram and Karen Bradley. They all pitched in to help her with certain processes. So it wasn't all me. The same way with Jeremy's book is that we had different tribe members to come in and walk them through that process, because it's different when you've got a relative and you feel some kind of way. So having, I wouldn't say strangers, but strangers that were family that come in and kind of pinch hit and say, okay, well, we can help you with this and get this going. So I appreciate you being here. We're waiting for Unoma to come on. She said she was here, but she said, I see you have something else to get to. And Shannon Harper, I just elevated her. Shannon, could you see where Unoma is? I think she thought she missed her time or didn't get it the right time because we were still talking, but I kind of
I'm actually about to message you about that.
Okay, tell
because
her
our original time was 5:30. So
I know, but it shifted over because you don't have an author space after you're a reviewer, so she only gets the 15 minutes. We still have her in. Have her to come on back in. We got her. Okay. Jennifer, where can people find you? Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer. J.S. Cole, that's her author name.
Yeah. You can find Lady of Jeffrey Manor. You can visit my website at authorjscole.com. You can buy my book on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Apple Books, Kobo. You can follow me on Twitter at authorjscole84. Instagram is authorj.s.cole. And my author Facebook is authorjscole.
Let me share the book cover one more time. That's the Lady of Jeffrey Manor, and that's her on a very. This was taken a couple of months ago because I said, "Where is your headshot?" So
yeah, that's on my anniversary.
Yeah. So now we've got to note that we have a book anniversary as well. So let me share the book. This is also part of the series, the beginning of it, King of Arabia. There's 9 books in the series, 9 books in the Kings of the Castle series, 9 books in the Knights of the Castle. And as they said in Game of Thrones, winter is coming, but I will let you know, the queens are coming.
Awesome.
Indeed. Okay. Well, we thank you so much. And I know you've got a handful with those 3 children, and well, actually 4 because you have a husband. I'm sorry. I know, when husbands are not doing so well, they become kids again. So there is that. So
well, we're all trying to,
Okay, I'm really gonna have to resent that remark.
Well, when I said when they're ill, they become kids again. And later, I don't feel good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, whatever.
No, I'm just saying.
But thank you for inviting me. I was nervous.
You did fine, darling. Not a word.
Thank you so much.
You did. She remembered all of her locations. She remembered how to introduce. You go, girl. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I'll keep my next material for the next cavalcade.
You you go. That's what I'm talking about. That is definitely what I'm talking about. Thank you so much. We will
All right.
talk again soon.
I'll stay in the background.
Okay, I'm putting you there right now.